Zdravo to our Techi friends in Bosnia and hello to everyone. This is our next tutorial in our series on web scraping using Python. I am Scrappy and this is World Web Scraping. There we go. Welcome back to World Web Scraping. This is our next tutorial in our series of web scraping using Python. And today we will talk about some basics of Python. We'll talk about the list because we are going to use and we are using a list a lot in the web scraping. As you know, the final method creates a list, so we should be aware of how to list in Python work and how we can use that. So in the last tutorial we created our first web scraper from this website. You remember that, and today you are not going to do any kind of scraping, but we will talk about list, and in the next video we will talk about Python dictionary and strings. These three things we are using more frequently in our scraping, so we should be aware of it. So let's get started. So guys, lists are a collection of items and lists are closed inside square brackets. And every item in a list has an assigned index value. Each item in a list is separated by a comma and lists are mutable. You can change list elements. So here how to create a list, let us go back and to create a list. Let's create our first list, F list, I name it, and to start I will a blank list. How to create a blank list? Just type in square brackets and you have got yourself a list. So this is a blank list. Now to create any list with some items, you just create a blank list and then you write any item in that. And if you want to get more items, you separate them by a comma. So you get yourself on the list here. And let's print this list and you will see we have got a list. So this is a very simple way. You can create a list like that. So every list, it will be enclosed in a square bracket. So wherever square brackets are coming, even if in your output, that means it is a list, and every element of the list will be separated by a comma. So if I write here 9, 9, 9, 9, and this becomes one element, this complete thing just one element is second element is the third element where a comma comes. That's where your second element starts and the first element ends. So this is how lists work, and let's print it again. And this is our new list now. Every item in a list has an index. What index means is every item has a number associated with it, and using that number, using that index, you can extract that particular item from the list. So, and the numbering starts from 0. So the index starts from 0 and then 1, then 2, and like that it goes on. So this item 999, let's just make it small too. So 99 is item 0. It is at 0 index. Item 8 is at first index. 6 is at second index. So it is not like 1, 2, and 3. It is 0, 1, 2. So remember that. What you want to extract. Let's run this again. So this is our list now. I want to extract, say, 99. So to do that, what I have to do is have a list type, the name of the list, F list, then square bracket, and type the index of that item. If I want to extract 99, enter 0, and that will get 99. If I want to extract 6 and write 2, and I will get 6. So this is the basic of list. Now let's get deep here. So how to create a blank list? To create a blank list, create a blank list just using a bracket, so we can create an empty list. So in the list we can have anything. We can have numbers there, 12, 7.6, 12, integer and float. They are mixed. We can have strings. strings, we can have a list of lists. List of list means is inside this big list. You see outer square bracket. We have 2 more lists inside there, so we can have that. And then we can have a mixed data type in list. So we can have a float, we can have a string, and we can have an integer, and we can have a list of lists. Inside a list, anything comes like that way. So my first list of string is apple banana. This is my string list, and then a list of integer and floats. So and then list of list. This is my list of list, which contains another list inside a list, and list of mixed data types. This is so let's printing list of lists. So this is my list of lists, so let's print our list of mixed data type. And so this is my mixed data type list. So the point is you can have a list anywhere you want. You can create if you can just have number, integer, that you can just flows, or you can have mixed data. You can have a list of lists. So that's how you use these are the numbers of types you can have a list. Now next comes finding the length of list. How you can find the length of list. So don't get confused by these big names. We can you can name it anything less. Just name it simple list 1. And if to find the length of list, we use length function. This is len function, and we don't need to actually print it. If it without printing it is it is in the last line. So we will the last line in Jupyter Notebook print itself. If you use print function there, so I want the length of my list 1, and I will just write list 1 inside length, and it will show me the length of my list. If I enter more elements here, say 5, say enter, run this cell again, and my list length is now 6. I have 6 elements here, so that's how our list you can find the length of a list. Again, how to add an element into the end of list 64 is here. If I want to add one more element after this list, note by just simply writing it, because when you will run it in a loop or something, then you don't want to manually enter it at you want to part something that will append it, that will add elements to this list, and you don't want to do it manually. So how we can do that? Again, let's name it something simpler, list 2. And so we can use a .append function. .append function, any element that you want to add here, say after 64. I want to add 100. I just want to add 100. So you type the name of the list, list 2 in this case, and you enter your type.append, and then in the parentheses you write the item. If it is a number, you can just simply write it like that, and let's print this once, and then I will show you how to write any strings and run it. So my item 100 is added at the end of the list. Now if you want to write a string, you have to write it into this commas and write anything. Any string, let's write any, and it will enter any at the end. So that way you can append a list. You have to use a .append operator. The next thing is insert an element at a particular position in the list. Now say I don't want to append the list at the end. I want to put an item here before 232, or I want to put something after you like Bill. Also, I want to put something here. So how to do that? To do that, we can use a .insert method. Let's name it simpler thing again, list 3. In my list 3, what I want to do is after Bill, I want to add Gates, Bill Gates, as you well know. I want to enter Gates after Bill. So what in that case I have to do, I have to pass the index at which index I want to enter. So this is 0 index, this is first index. So after that, if I want to enter anything that will commit second index, so I will enter index of that place where I want to put my gates, and then enter the thing that I does string that I want to enter the number. I want to enter whatever. So first put your enter the index of the position, and then you enter the desired element that you want to add. So let's run the cell, and you see our bill, and then gates will come there. Let's say I want to enter one more thing. I want to enter some element, so dot insert. I will call and add the say after at the third place. Now I see now my third index will come after the gates, because this list already created and I already entered gates. So my third instance say I want to enter item, say I want to enter 100, and now we shall create 100 at index 3. So that way you can enter a particular item at a particular index. Now removing an item from the list, how you can remove anything from the list. So to remove, guys, an item from the list, you just have to call the dot remove operator, and let's name it again, a simple thing, list 4, and say I want to remove item 232 from here. So what I will do, I will type the name of the list, and I will call dot remove function, and it will remove item 232 from the list. So let's run this, and we can see the first 232 is removed. The second, third 232 remains. What does that means? That it removes the first occurrence of that particular item. It will not remove all of 232. It will just remove first occurrence way of wherever the first time 232 comes. It will remove that. So that's how you can remove an item from a list. You just have to type the name, that item itself, and it will remove. So there are two ways, you can append a list, and they are earlier showed that. One thing is to use dot append operator. Now say I have two lists, list 5 and list 6. I want to add this list 6 inside list 5. How to do that now? If I use a dot append operator on this, what will happen? What will happen if I append on list 5, and if I do append on list 5, list 6, what will happen? This entire list will go inside this. So, and it will become a list of list. And this will go inside this with the bracket of brackets. That's what will happen. Now I'm calling list 5, and I'm doing a list, and I'm doing append on that. I am adding list 6 into list 5. So let's run the cell and see. What I'm saying is this complete list will go inside here after 14.4. This is a complete list, will come there. Let's run this and see this complete list get inside of this list. So it became a list of list now, because it list is coming inside the list, and the length of a list, if you see, it is 5. So one element, 2, 3, 4, and this complete list becomes a single element. So total length is 5. But now, what if I don't want it like there, but if I want it in a way that I want these elements to be added as single element, not as a list? So how to do that? That instead of coming 14.4 after 14.4 instead of a list, I should have to 12, then 7.6, then 30 inside my list 5 itself. It should not be a list of lists. So how to do that? To do that, we have to use extend operator. So instead of calling dot append, we call dot extend, and what will happen? These items come singles as individual items after this list. And so let's call again 5, list 6, list 5, list 6. What I'm doing is on .extend list 6. So what will it will do? It will add 12 here. Then after that 7.6, 30, 64, and then I'm finding the length of the list. So the length of the list 5 now. It should 4. These elements plus 4, it should be 8 instead of 5. It will become 8 now. Let's run the cell and see. You see here after 14, every element of this second list has come inside the list, not as a list of this point, as individual element. And length of a list set 5. Length of a list 5 is 8 now. So 4 plus 4 element is 8. So that way you can add a list inside list, not as a list of lists. So guys, dot extend and dot append are two very important operators in list. So please remember that. Now deleting an element in the list, there are 3 ways. You can delete an element from a list. Let's discuss all of them one by one. 7, I will call it. In list 7, I have 55.4 will 232, 14.4. So one way I showed you earlier, that was dot remove. If I do dot remove and I remove 232, it will remove it like that. Another way is to call del operator is their del and their pop operator. So first let's see how del operator work. So if I call del operator, what will happen? And so how del operator work, you call the del operator before the typing the name of the list, and then you directly pass the index of the item, not the item itself. You pass the index of the item. So in case I am passing 2, let's not pass 2, let's pass 1, and it will delete item 1. This is item 1, this item 0, this is item 1. So it will delete item 1, and then let's run this. Let's run this and we will see. So my bill is removed now. So that way you can delete an item here using an index. Now using an index you can delete multiple items, and if you want to delete multiple items, you can delete in this way. You type del operator and then you type the name of the list and you pass starting index. My starting index is 1 now. My item 1 is this one because I have already removed. Let's hash out this statement because we have seen how that works. Now if I run this cell again, my list and 7 again will become this complete list. And now I want to remove item 1, 2, 3. So this will remove this item 1 and item 2. It will not remove item 3 because in Python the last index is not included. So if I run the cell, what I will get is I will have effectively 2 items remaining, 55.4 and 14.4. So that way you can remove any number of item you want. So you can remove multiple item using their del operator. Now there is another operator. Let's hash this out again. And there is another operator called pop. What pops does is it can work in the same way as del, but it is a different syntax. Just list 7. So what pop does is again it removes the element from the particular index. So if I print this item deleted, and let's just call it directly. Let's not call inside again. That's not assigned into something else, and list 7 if I print again. So if dot pop, what it will do, it will remove the item at index 1, so it works in a similar way as del, and you can remove that item from that index, but you cannot remove multiple items using .pop. You just remove one single item at a time using index. So if you want to remove multiple item, use del operator. If you want to use the remove one item using the index, you use the .pop operator. If you want to remove an item using the item name itself, then you remove .remove operator. So these are the three ways you can delete item from a list. You see, this is again an example of how to use a .remove operator, and I'm going to remove 232 found here, and you see it can wait works like that. Now one more important thing in list is membership of list. These all any item that is inside a list is the member of that list, and you can check if an item is a member of a list by calling membership of a operator. Python has two membership operator, that is in and not in, so in means you want to check if an item is inside a list or not. If you use not in, that you want to check confirm that this item is not in this list. Yes. So I want to check here list 8. What I'm doing here, I'm writing is Bill is inside this. If Bill is inside list 8, print found in this, that means this item is found in list. So it will end that now again. I'm checking 131 as 131 is not an element of list. List 8 if 131 not in list 8. So I run the cell. So what happened, this is my first item is inside the list. So it will print this thing. Second item is not in the list. So it will print this. Let's check what happens if I print an item, if I write an item like so 232, which is inside the list. What will happen then? It will not return anything because 232 is in the list, and I have not given, so it is inside the list. It will not written any statement after this. So that's how two ways you can check membership of an item in a list, and this will come very handy when you write for loop to append a list or to create a list like that, like we did yesterday. If you remember in the last tutorial, when we here, if I show you the code again, we created this for loop. If you remember this for loop, we create this for loop. Now we could have created a list here, and he could have appended all of these items into that list, and it would have worked well. So in the Python you will use this thing very extensively. Now how you can reverse a list. To reverse a list you have to call .reverse operator. Now what .reverse operator will do, it will reverse the list from the 55.4 will go at the end, and 14.4 will come at the start. So you can use it that way if you want to reverse a list anytime. Just clear the output and run again. So if I run this, will my print first line 9, and then this will reverse my list 9, and it will print again. So see, this list is completely reversed. 14.4 comes at the first, then 232, then Bill, then 55.4. So we're using .reverse, so you can reverse a list, sorting a list, and now sorting a list is a very important thing when you say you have a list of numbers and you want to sort that place from ascending order or descending order, and this comes very handy when you do some work where you need everything, you know, like from, say you want to sort like if you want to sort a list of students by their roll number, and then you use a sorting. So there are two operators in sorting you can use to sort, and there is dot sort and sorted. So these are slightly confusing. There is a sort operator and sorted. There are two operators that you can use. Now let's see. This is my list, and I have 29, 12, 4, 7, and 12. So, and I will create another list and the sorted list, and I will call my operator sorted, and inside that I passed my list. So what will happen? It will sort my list in ascending order. 4 will come first, then 7, then 12, and that way you can sort. So let's run this. So you see the here sorted. This list was 29, 12, 4, 7, 12, and this is my original list, and this is my sorted list. It is in ascending order. Now if you want to sort it in descending order, what you have to do is get your list. You have to pass reverse. Reverse is true. If you pass it, it will sort it in descending order. So in that case, 29 will come first, then 12, and 7, and 4. So that you see 29, 12, 12, 7, 4. So you can pass reverse is true then, and then you can get a sorted list. Now let's see how it will work with a list of mixed data type. I have this list of mixed data type and how we will get sort there. So now let's just hash this out. Now I have this list, and if I call sorted operator on this mixed list, let's see what happens. It will show you an error. It will not sort a list. We have you have multiple data types. If you have a string in your list, or if you have a list of lists, then the sorted operator will not work, because you cannot sort a string with a list. It cannot apply greater than or less than operator between a string and integer or a float. So this will not work on a mixed data type. Let's move ahead. This I have already shown you, so that's not a point. There is a dot sort operator, and how this dot sort operator works. You can directly, like in sorted operator, but we assigned our sorted list to another list, right? And that's how sorted works. But dot sort operator, you can directly call on your original list, and it will sort your original list itself. So if you don't want to preserve the original order of your list, so guys, you can call a dot sort operator directly on that list, and it will sort it that way. So that way you can sort it. So if you want to directly sort your original list, you call the dot sort operator directly on that list. So these are two operators that you can use to sort a list. Now we can split the string. If we can split a string to create a list out of it, and then we can extract individual element out of that. So here I have a string apple, banana, and grapes, and I have separate them by commas. Now what I want to do, I want to put this thing into a list, and where apple will be separate element, banana will be a separate element, grapes will be a separate element. So what I will do is I will create another list. What I will do is I will call dot split operator, and I'm assigning it to us on the new list, naming it a split list, and I'm calling dot split operator on my string, and I'm using comma. I'm telling you by what you know, like separator is I'm using which separated it has to use, and if I print it, what I will get is apple, banana, and grapes. I will get a list of list, converted my string into a list. Let's change this thing, and instead of a comma, I'm using a hyphen. And if I give hyphen here, it will work the same way. See, so whatever separator you have, you can use that separator here. if it could be a comma, could be a hyphen, it could be a pipe. So you use that operator, and you can just pass that operator into doors split, and you will get your string converted into a list. Now again, what I'm using here, let's see. This is a continuous string, and it is only using spaces if there are space here, and if I don't need to provide anything, it will automatically, the Python will automatically consider the space as the separator. If there is no separator provided, then Python considers space wherever spaces comes. It considers that as a separator, and it will convert it into a string. So if I run the cell and we see, let us split this string, everything is converted into an individual elements. So that way you can convert a string into a list. Then let's come to indexing. Is like the most important thing in a list. Indexing means that you want to take out every individual element of a list using some rule, and I'm using the index of that element. And how to do that? The indexing means taking out an individual elements out of a list. How you can do is you can just pass the index of that list. If I want to take 29 out, it will pass the index of 29 with the list, and it will print 29. And if I want minus also over indexing, can again our indexing, if we start from the 0, our indexing starts from 0. So 0 element is this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we want to take out element from the last, so our indexing starts -1. So this is element -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So that's how it is. Do remember that, please. So it took out element 0, and that is 29. And element -1 is item 12. It took out that. Let's change it to -3. So -3 should be 4, and change this to 0, 1, 2, and item 2 and index 2 should be 4. So I will get in the result 4 and 4. So 4 and 4. That way you can take out element from the list. Let's create another list again for simplicity. List 9, 56, 96, A, MS. Now, if I want to take any element of the above list, let's say I want to take out A, what I will do list. I will just simply call list, and I will call the index of that element. I need element number 4 in this, so 0, 1, 2, 3. I will call index 3, and I will get A out of this, right? So you can do practice it and see how it works. Let's put it in index 4, and I will get MS out. So that way you can take out any element that you want. Now what if you want to take multiple elements out of a list at a time, not just you don't want to take out A only, you want to take A, MS both out. You want to take 9, 56, 96 out. So how to do that? That is list slicing. You can slice a list, you can cut it into 2 pieces the way you want it. And I will explain in this on this list of self. First, let's copy this, and now if I want to take out, say, element 9, 56 and 96, what I will do, I will pass the index of those elements using I want element 9, so that is a 0 column. I want till 96, so I will pass 1 index more than the index that I need. So you have to use column symbol after the first index with the starting it. It will be your starting index, and then you have to enter an ending index. Both of this index can be anything. but they should be like in the list. You cannot pass here 8 because there is no element at 8. There are only 5 elements in the list. So starting index column, ending index, that is the syntax. So now I want till 96, so 0, 1, 2. So I will pass your 3 because last index is not included in Python. So to grab the elements that I need, I have to pass one element, one index extra. So that way I will get 9, 56, 96. You can also, instead of writing, if you want AMS, you don't have to start necessarily from 0. You can start from 3. You can start from any element that you want, and let's say I want MS. So I will pass here 6, and this will give me AMS both. Now MS was 5 elements, but I pass 6 because I need to take these also out if I pass only 5. But it will do it, will just give me, if it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, there are 4 elements of there. I can pass till items till element 5. So in the ending index, you enter anything, you say 9, it will pass you the maximum element only part. Let's see what if we try and pass starting from 9 and say if you want to ask 12, what will happen? We will get an empty list because there is no element like that 9 and 12. So that way you can do this. Now another thing you can do, let's copy this again and let me show you. Another thing you can do if you don't have to pass any starting element, but you can do, you just pass column and if you pass an ending element, but the list will do it, will grab all of those elements starting from 0 and until that index, say I pass 3, so it will grab elements 9, 56, 96 itself. You don't have to pass a starting element the same way. You don't have to pass an ending index. You just find the starting index, say 1, then it will start from 1. It will take out all of the remaining elements. So it will take 56, 96, AMS out. So you can play with the list that way. And if you just pass a column and if you don't pass any element, if you don't give a starting element and don't give an ending element, what will happen? It will take out the complete list. So that way you can work on this. I will show you for them some more operator. This we have already covered how we can take out some elements. Now let's come to this. My list of items is 43, 100, 13, 4, 12 and 100. Let's say I want to take out so if I write column 2, what that means, that for this first column means that a goal item out, then second column means take a step of 2. So if we try 2 columns and then we write a number, that means we have to take a step of 2. So what that means is if you start from 43 and then it will take the second element out, then it will take the second element out, then it will take the second element out. So that is the step of 2. It will take an element out in 2 steps. And now I'm starting, see here, I'm starting from the element is what I'm saying here is start from element 2 will be 100 and then take a jump of elements 2. So it will take 100 out and it will take 4 out and then it will take 100 out. So you can jump like that. You can put and give a step and you can jump like that. Let's give a step of 3 here instead of 2. Let us see what happens. It will start from 43, then it will take 13 out, the step of 3, 1, 2, 3, it will take 13 out, then it will go 3 step 1, 2, 3, it will take 100 out. So you can jump like that. Extend a list, and now we have used a dot extend operator, so to extend a list right in the earlier. And now there is one more way. We can just join 2 lists by just calling plus sign and it will create a complete list. So I have a list of items, one here, list of items 2, and I want to join them. So list of item 1 plus a list of item 2, it will come become a complete list. So after 100 it will start hello 19 1 11. So you can use this also instead of using a dot extends operator. Count an item in a list. So if an item is coming multiple times inside a list, you can count that item using a dot count operator on the list. So I have here a list of item 3. It has 12, 43, 2, 100, 13, 4, 12, 100, the 12 coming twice, and I want to count how many times 12 is coming. So you just call the name of the list dot count the item name, in this case to 12. So it will tell me 12 is coming 2 times, 100 is coming 1 time. So you can count that that way, the how many numbers of times an item is coming inside a list. And now guys, let's see looping. I'm creating a simple for loop here on my list, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to print every single item of this list. So I'm creating for an element in the list of items, but an operator means that this element belongs to this list. So what our for loop does, if I trace over complete, you know, like the range of the list, or if you are given a list, if you are given a print element, it will print every element one by one. So this is to see it printed 12, 43, 2, 100, 13, 4, 12, 100. So that way you can use a for loop to print every element of a list or anything you want to do with the list. So that's depending on your user case. So this is the end of our list section, and you keep practicing this and get familiar with it, because we are using a lot of list in the beautiful soup. And so that is all for today, my tetchy friends. If you like the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video tutorial, and do not stop visiting our website. Leave your comments below and ask me any questions you have. I will be very happy to answer them. Link is given in the description of this video to get code and full material. Stay happy, stay safe, stay tetchy.